Okay, yesterday we listened to a text called The Inventor's Secret. If you remember, this was a story about Thomas Edison and Henry Ford, both of whom were inventors. Thomas Edison invented what we know as the Edison light bulb. He was not the first inventor of a light bulb, but he is of the Edison bulb, which is what we use today. And of course, Henry Ford, who was the inventor of the Ford Automobile Company and the first Ford automobile, the Model T car. And we listened to their journey, their struggles, how long it took them, the fact that they had to keep at it, that they failed, that things didn't go right, and they didn't give up. We're going to take a look today at that same theme again of never giving up and keeping at it. But interestingly enough, this is the story of the author of this text, Suzanne Slade. Suzanne Slade wrote this book that we listened to yesterday, but she also had many battles and failures along the way of getting this book to be published. Okay, so we're going to take a listen to her story. As you are listening to her story, I want you to be thinking about some questions. The questions that you are going to think about are going to be answered on Seesaw. Your first question is going to be, what do you think was the most frustrating part of this author's journey? Okay, so I want you to listen to her story of writing the text and what was frustrating about it. Also, I want you to be thinking about the 3 things that you will have to do before you ever even get to build your car. There were a lot of things that this author had to do before she ever even got to put a pen to paper and write the book. Lots of pre-work to get done. Okay? So again, what do you think was the most frustrating part of this author's journey? And what did she have to do before she ever even started writing the book? Any questions before we start watching? Okay, here we go.
Hi, my name is Suzanne Slade and I'm a children's book author. I thought today you might like to meet my adorable dog, Corduroy. Now, one of the books I've written is The Inventor's Secret, which is the story of 2 inventors, Thomas Edison and Henry Ford, and one interesting secret they share. Now, I've always loved science, and in college I studied mechanical engineering. After graduation, I worked on cars and rockets and other cool stuff. And later, as an author, when I got the idea to write this story, like these 2 inventors, I had to keep at it because, would you believe it took over 5 years to create this book?
5 years. That's half of your lifetimes. Some of you more than half.
So here's the story of how Inventor's Secret was created. The first step in creating this book was, of course, the idea. I got the idea one day while reading about Thomas Edison and Henry Ford's wonderful friendship. And then it was on to the second step, research. I started by reading books about Thomas and Henry. Then I studied Henry's car, Thomas's inventions, and the patents Thomas created for his inventions. But during my research, I found some puzzling mysteries, such as when did Henry and Thomas first meet? So I had to become a detective. In this book, My Life and Work, written by Henry Ford, Ford says the 2 first met in Atlantic City in 1887. But in this book, My Friend Mr. Edison, also written by Ford and his buddy Sam, it said they met in New York City in 1896. So I questioned a few experts who helped me figure out that first meeting was in New York in 1896. Another mystery I had to solve was, when did Thomas Edison invent his light bulb? At first I thought this would be easy to find. I just checked the date on his light bulb patent, but then I discovered Edison had another patent for the light bulb. and another, and another, and many more. In fact, Edison had 424 patents on light bulbs and lighting.
424 different ideas, different models, different creations.
And lighting. So I talked with an Edison expert, Dr. Louis Carlotte, who explained the patent issued in 1880 was Edison's real breakthrough on his bulb design. And then it was finally on to step 3, writing. After writing that first story draft, it was time to begin step 4, editing, where authors make changes to improve their story. First, I took the story to writer friends in my critique groups, who gave me ideas to make more edits. After a few months of editing, I decided it was time to send the story to the people who make books, the publishers. Before long, they sent me letters, rejection letters. No one wanted to publish this story. But like Thomas and Henry, I decided to keep at it. I made more edits, sent the story to more publishers, and received more rejection letters. But I kept at it, edited the story again, and this time I got a different letter back, a book contract. Hooray! My story was finally going to be published. Then I began working with a very smart book editor named Alyssa, who suggested more edits, which led to more research and a trip to the Edison and Ford Winter Estates Museum with my trusty research assistants, my mom, dad, and sister. At the museum, I studied Edison's early light bulbs, Ford's first cars, tools and patents, and even chatted with Henry and Thomas. Then it was time for step 6, the illustrations. The publisher hired an extremely talented illustrator, Jennifer Black Reinhardt, to create the pictures for the story. First, she made sketches of Henry Ford and Thomas Edison. Then she did some research of her own. She visited Edison's lab so she could accurately show what it looked like. She studied Ford's tools, so each tool in the book was exactly right. For each illustration, Jennifer started with sketches, then created her fantastic final art. Since I'd worked on cars when I was an engineer, I made a drawing of a car's 4-stroke cylinder, which she used to help make her illustration. Jennifer made copies of Edison's actual patents, cut them out, and put them into the book's incredible last illustration. She also spent a lot of time designing the book's wonderful cover. And after all that work, the book finally zoomed off to the printer, and after 5 long years, The Inventor's Secret was finished, ready to be enjoyed by readers everywhere. You can find The Inventor's Secret in libraries across the country, like this little free library in Walnut, California, or at the public library in Normal, Illinois, where they put up a display showing how the book was made. So remember, when you're trying something new, or it's harder than you thought it would be, just keep at it. I'm glad I did when I wrote this book, which has also been released in Korean so more children can enjoy it. And special thanks to Illinois Reads and Ag in the Classroom for supporting The Inventor's Secret.
Pretty crazy. All right, if you would please hop onto Seesaw. On Seesaw, you have a new activity which has been released to you called Designing the Inventor's Secret. Go ahead and click on that add response, and you will notice on slide 1 the question you are going to discuss in your breakout room. What do you think was the most frustrating part of the author's journey? What do you think was the most frustrating part of the author's journey? You're going to share these ideas in your breakout room and be ready to share out when you get back. Here you go. Okay, welcome. Let's hear what your thoughts are. What do you think was the most frustrating part of the author's journey? What was the most frustrating part? Aiden G? Aiden, I'm going to go ahead and mute you because you're doing the choppy thing and it's going to take like 3 minutes to get your sound done. So please send it in the chat. Okay, you're doing that robot lag thing again. Send it in the chat and then I'll share it out. All right, Tim, what was the most frustrating part of the author's journey?
I think it was getting all those rejection letters.
Rejection letters, rejection letter after rejection letter after rejection letter. That would be very frustrating. All right, Terrence, what do you think was the most frustrating part of her journey?
The most frustrating part of the author's journey is getting rejection letters.
Okay, so you agree with Tim? Those letters would be frustrating.
Incomplete sentence.
You did say it in a complete sentence. I heard it. Yes, William.
Waiting 5 years before the book was done.
Having to wait 5 years for one project. Okay, having to wait 5 years to be done. That is a long time. Aiden G in the chat says she kept getting rejection letters. So agreement there with Tim and with
Yes.
thank you. Yes, Terrence. I was looking at William's name and it threw me off. Yes, so rejection letters, having to wait 5 years to be done. That would be super frustrating. Any other ideas of what would have been the most frustrating? Yes, Leah.
Having to wait 5 years to be done.
Okay, so you're in agreement with William. That is a long time. Some of you guys are going to get frustrated when after one day you're like, I'm done. And I'm like, no, you're not. And you're going to be mad. And that's one day. And she did 5 years. That's a long time. That's longer than Josh's timer has been running on his sister's phone. Terrence.
So, can we do our project for 5 years?
Theoretically, you could. Yes, you won't be with me for 5 years, though. So you got to have some form of a model to show by the end. But theoretically, yes, you could keep improving it. Any other things that might have been frustrating to her? I think it might have been frustrating to have to spend, ooh, that's really light, having to spend time and money on all the research. She took a lot of trips, and I bet that was a lot of money that she had to spend that no one was paying her because she wasn't getting paid to write that book yet. She was getting rejected on that book. Okay, so she wasn't even sure that she was going to be able to get that book paid for, and she was spending her own money. I bet that took some frustrations. Yes, William?
Having 462 patents on Thomas Edison.
Woo, that
The
was a
light
lot of
bulbs.
research. Reviewing 420, not 4,000, 424 patents of Edison's. Yes, that man wrote 424 patents and she was looking through them all. That's a lot of frustration, a lot of time, a lot of research, a lot of energy. Okay.
That's half of 1 year.
What's half of 1 year?
124 patents.
Oh, patents are like ideas that you put on paper so no one can steal them. So like McDonald's has a patent on the Mc name. So like McNuggets, McFlurry, Big Mac, that's their patent. So they created those objects and no one else can steal it and make it. Nike has a patent, okay, on their shoe design. No one else can make the Nikes with that symbol and in that shape and make money off of it. So patents secure ideas as personal property because you can't really take your brain and say, here, I'm going to sell this. So it makes your ideas personal property. Okay. Yeah, Braden, writing and reading all of that, that book editing. Ooh, that's a good one. I think she had to edit her book like 4 or 5 times. So editing her book for mistakes over and over and over.
No, she had to do that 10 times.
Was it 10 times? Even
Yes.
more work.
Oh.
Okay, so yeah, editing her book over and over and over and over. Okay, that was a lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of energy. No, you do not have to have everything I have here. I'm just putting all of your ideas up at once, okay? So please stop trying to type them super fast. That's not the point of this. This is just for you to see all her frustrations, okay? All right, let's take a look at slide 2. Write a 3-step plan of the work you will need to do before you even get to build your car. We've been doing some of this now. What have we been doing during our Mintmobile time before you get to build your cars? Yes, Terrence.
Been we've been doing we've been working on simple machines.
Yes, researching simple machines. Okay, go ahead and type that in. Step 1 has been researching simple machines. Your Mintmobiles are going to be using simple machines. If you don't understand simple machines, you're not going to be able to build a very effective car. Okay, so researching simple machines. I want to send you into your breakout room again, and I want you to talk about what are some other things that you have to do before you ever even get to build a car. Even when you have your materials, when you have that bag of materials, what do you have to do before you're like, I'm just going to build it? Okay, what do you got to get done? Okay, so I send you into your breakout room. What are some things you have to do before you start working? Okay, here you go. All righty. You have talked with your group about all the work you got to do before you ever even get started. I've also come up with some ideas of what you got to do. Don't copy me because you have great ideas. Okay, so I'm going to hear more. So we talked about researching simple machines. You're going to have to draw a sketch of your ideas like a blueprint. Okay, so you know what you're building before you start building. And if you didn't know this, now you know. You are going to have to start getting Mrs. Sousa's approval. If you don't have approval, if you were in person, you just wouldn't get your supplies. Y'all are getting your supplies, so if you don't get approval, I don't accept your work as an entry into the race. Dun, dun, dun. So just like our author got rejection letters, you might also experience a rejection letter. So you've got to be careful and make sure you've met all the requirements. What are some other things that you might have to do before you start building your cars? Yes, Leah.
So, Miss Lisa, I said, plan what you do, take your time and sketch.
Plan what you do. Yes, you got to make a plan. You got to sketch it. We got it. You got to take your time. Terrence, what else might we do?
We might think of what you're gonna do before you do it.
Come up with a plan. Yes. Okay. You got to have a plan before you start building. Okay. This isn't Legos. We're not just going to grab them and see what we create. We're going to have a plan. Again, no, you do not need to copy what I am putting down. These are just ideas. So stop trying to type super fast. I don't expect you to have everything I have. Yes, William.
Don't forget about simple machines.
Yes, keep your background knowledge awake. Okay, y'all have got some background knowledge that's going to help you build. You don't want to forget all of it and say, woohoo, building a car, nothing else matters. No, things still matter. Yes, Terrence.
Try your best.
Try your best. Always try your best. Okay, So we've got a lot of pre-work that we are going to do. Today during our humanities time, you're going to get your chance to ask all your questions. But before we do that, you've got to enter a contract with me. Dun, dun, dun. Hop to slide 3, please. This is your engineering contract. You must sign the contract and agree to the terms in order to be considered a racer in the car design. Okay? You must do this. Ooh, A and G in the chat. Measure your objects and put them in the order you want to put them together. Yes, that's great. Very good. Okay, here is your contract. Okay? If you do not agree to these terms, you do not get to be in the race. So please understand that. Get a pen ready. You will notice that it says name of engineer. That's you. You're the engineer. I am your teacher or manager, which is why I've already signed your contracts, because I believe in you. Okay, let's get ready. You are going to write your name if you understand and agree to the statement. Okay, I, name of engineer, do hereby understand that my engineering design process will take nearly a whole week. So this means you are not going to be able to say, I'm done on Monday. I need you to understand that. If you understand that this is going to take you a whole week, please write your name. So I'm going to pretend like I am writing this, and my name is Mrs. Sousa. You write your name because you are the engineer. So if I were Levin, it would say, I, Levin, do hereby understand that my engineering design process will take nearly a whole week. Okay. Next statement, please write your name if you understand and agree. I, name, do hereby agree that I will not finish the final product of my car in one day. If you understand and agree with that statement, please sign your name. Next one, I, write your name, do hereby agree that I will not give up and will use calming strategies when things don't go how I planned. If you understand that you will not give up and you agree to use calming strategies, please write your name on the line. Okay. Down here, this is your signature. When you sign a contract, that means you are agreeing to everything on the page. Okay. This is on the page. If you agree that you will take a whole week, that you will not finish in one day, and that you will not give up and use calming strategies, please sign your name. And once you have signed your contract, please click on that green check. And check. I hope you guys read the fine print of that contract that was hidden at the bottom, because it also said that you agreed to pay me $1 million to be in this race. So pay up, y'all. Just kidding. There's no fine print. I scammed you all. Yes.
I think we have $19 million.
I didn't say you had to give me 19 million. I said you had to give me 1 million. So.
But there's 19 kids in the class.
Yes.
You're not getting $1 million from a kid that's in 3rd grade.
Hey, y'all don't know about YouTubers, huh? Because there's some third grade kids opening presents and toys making millions of dollars. All right, get that contract turned in. I will review those. Those are step 1 to being entered into the third grade Mint Mobile Challenge. Dun, dun, dun.